Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Carmen Bryant, Psychological Health Consultants and Services, with my program, Redefining Yourself, a program that I developed for women in mind who are thinking of leaving, needing more information, or have left and are recovering from domestic violence. My main topic and my main interest is narcissist abuse recovery. And so I like to educate, I like to make aware, and I like to validate those of you that have been through this type of abuse, narcissist abuse. And even though the program was developed for women in mind, there are men that have been through narcissist abuse, and many of them are on this channel that have not, well, not many, but there are some gentlemen, some kings that have joined us on the YouTube channel that are willing to share their experiences and give us a different perspective, especially the women, a different perspective of what it is like to be with a female narcissist. You know, everything that I put in the videos, they're very similar. You know, male, female, whether it's heterosexual or lesbian relationships, narcissist abuse is narcissist abuse. They have similar traits, they have similar features, they do similar things, they think similar ways. They're just individual people themselves. And so thank you guys so much, first of all, for subscribing. Those of you that are new to my YouTube channel, thank you guys so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for being a part of this YouTube channel. And thank you to all the men that have interjected, that have provided us with information, that come on my live feed whenever I come on live on Sundays. Thank you guys for joining me on Sunday. And thank you for all the questions, and thank you for all the information, and thank you for all the emails. I really appreciate all the emails, topics that are being requested, conversations that I have with many of you. Thank you guys so much for sharing that with me and trusting me with that information. And for those of you that have not, if you have not subscribed already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse, so it's Bryant with a T, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. And then hit the subscribe, but hit the bell too, so that you know whenever I upload a new video or whenever I come on live. And also on my Facebook page, it is Psychological Health Consultants and Services. Hit the like button. I usually go live on both feeds. As you know, this Sunday there was some technical difficulties, so if they persist, I do have to go on the YouTube. I can do the YouTube quicker and then record and share it on the Facebook channel. And so this evening I wanted to come on and I wanted to talk about psychological warfare, and that consisting of dealing with words. And do understand that when you are dealing with narcissists or people that have narcissistic personality disorder, not those that have narcissistic traits, not those that are just arrogant and self-centered, not those that may have narcissistic tendencies, because they still have empathy, and they still have compassion. They still have the ability to bond to people. I'm talking about those that literally have the diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder. They do not have the capacity to bond with people. They do not have the capacity to feel empathy for people. The relationships are not real, and everything and everyone is supply and fuel. They're trying to find fuel. And I'm going to talk about later on, I'm going to talk about hoovering and fuel as well. So let me just put that down. I have to put that down on my list of videos that I've been asked to talk about. But we'll talk about too. But everybody and everything is a source of supply to get fuel from. And so they don't see you the same way that you see them. And so many questions, I can't believe that this individual would do this. I can't believe that they would treat me this way. And so there are a lot of you that are hurting tremendously hurting. But you have to understand that this is not a normal functioning human being. Normal functioning human beings have compassion, have empathy. These are not normal functioning human beings. They have a psychological disorder. They have a personality disorder. They do not think the way that you think. And so I just want to clarify that. You're dealing with a person that is not a normal person. They have an abnormal personality disorder. That's what it is, an abnormal personality disorder. They're not, they don't communicate the way that you do. They don't think the way that you do. They see people as supply. They see people as objects. They see people as appliances to get fuel from. There's something that they need from you. It doesn't matter what you look like. You can be ugly. You can be beautiful. It doesn't matter. There's something that you have that they want. And so I wanted to go in and talk about words for a minute. You know, many of you understand that words can be used positively or negatively. Words shape the way that you think. Words shape, you know, positive and negative. Words, when you release word, there are people that have been through psychological trauma or sexual trauma, post-traumatic stress, and many times they live with the secrets of the thoughts in their heads, you know, the experiences in their heads, and they never open their mouth to say anything. They won't even say the name of the abuser because they feel afraid, or they feel like they may empower that individual. But to actually start speaking and saying it, it gives them relief because they're getting these words out to express these ideas and thoughts that are in their head. And a lot of times they go through anger, and so they're speaking these words, But think about it, when you speak words, it draws pictures in your head, or the words are describing the pictures in your head or the emotions that you feel. Words are an expression of thought, or words can also create thoughts and create imagery in your head. Many people that have come out of dysfunctional homes, words have been spoken to you to make you feel less than, or with a low self-esteem. You may feel bad about yourself. And some people have come out to make you feel good about themselves. They have a good self-esteem intact, you know, but words shape your thoughts. Words shape your emotions. Words can trigger you. Words can, and the reason why I say that is because when you go to therapy, when something's happened or you need therapy, you go to a therapist, a marriage and family therapist, a mental health therapist, a psychiatrist, and what is it? It's called talk therapy, because there's power in words. There are certain ways that you may have thought about yourself. Let's say you put yourself through school, you have a great education, you've been promoted, you're beautiful, you're handsome, you know, you're on the top of the, you know, you've been promoted to CEO of the earth. You know, you've got wonderful life, you know, you have all these things, and you feel like you are, you know, you have completed something. People give you compliments, they tell you how smart, they, you know, wow, I really feel good about myself. And then you meet the narcissist. The narcissist takes their time to tear down your world. Their world is already torn down, but they look at you, want something from you, want supply, but they take a lot of times to psychologically damage you, and a lot of that, you know, including physical and all that, but we're just talking about words today, used through words. And so I wanted to give you this definition, okay? Remember, words can make you happy. Words can make you confident. And the reason why I want to emphasize words, because even here on the YouTube channel, you know, if any of you know, for those of you that I have responded through email, for those of you that I respond through the comments on YouTube, I always try to say something positive. I always try to encourage you. Many of you said, you know, I feel encouraged, and you feel validated. I try to validate you because in my heart, I am a therapist. That's what I am. Though I provide services to people as a life coach, in my heart, I'm a therapist. That's what I do. And so, and I'm an encourager. I am a leader. I was a leader in the military. I encourage people, you know, and I talk to them about their capabilities, about their strengths. And so if you ever got an email from me, or ever received an email from me, or if you ever get comments from me on the YouTube, whenever I comment to you guys, I always make sure that I encourage you. I encourage you to show you your strength. I encourage you, but many of you are listening to the words that are coming out of YouTube, and it's validating how you felt, validating that this is real, validating that this really happened, validating that this is a real thing, and these words are explaining, they're giving you understanding. So these words are being used in a positive way. But let me show you guys something, or let me tell you guys something. I apologize, the phone is ringing. I wanted to look at this word, and it's called psychological warfare. So let's look at the definition of this. So I got this on the dictionary on the internet. And psychological warfare consists of attempts to make your enemy lose confidence, give up hope, or feel afraid so that they can win. Who do you think the enemy is to a narcissist? You are, because you're the achiever. You're happy. You're smiling. You have something going for yourself. You have money. You have a good job. You're handsome. You're pretty. You know, there's something about you that's just wonderful. They don't see, you think, you know, you're looking at a narcissist and they may be handsome, they may be beautiful, you know, and you're admiring them, but what you don't understand is they're admiring you. And they hate the fact that they feel like they're, even though they try to make you feel inferior to them, they feel inferior to you. And so because they feel inferior to you because of your looks, your achievements, you know, your happiness, they strive to tear you down because they can't stand to see it. Torments them to see you happy. It torments them to see you successful. That's why I tell you guys, the best way to get back at a narcissist is to heal, recover, go no contact, and then eventually stop caring. And when you stop caring and you're smiling and you're happy again and it's real, that torments them because you don't want to have anything to do with them. You don't want no contact with them. You don't want to deal with them, period. That torments them because you finally recovered. They did so much damage that they're hoping that they just left you by the roadside to make you feel bad about yourself, to make you feel low self-esteem. But when you get up and you recover from that, that torments them. And a lot of them may not tell you, because they don't want you to know that they don't want you to feel like you won at this warfare, but you're tormenting them. And I don't mean that from a fake way. You just pretend like. And I'm going to talk to you guys about some of these pictures you guys are putting on your Facebook pages and some of the things that you guys are doing. Some of you guys are trying to make them hoover because you're hurt. You want them to come back. But we're going to talk about that later. But psychological warfare. So they attempt to make you lose your confidence, make you try to lose hope, make you feel afraid. Remember, on the trauma bonding, that's what they're doing. They want you to feel afraid. They want you to feel uncomfortable. They want you to feel inferior to them. Another definition is the use of propaganda or other psychological means to influence or confuse the thinking. Undermine your morale. So they want to confuse your thinking. I had a lot of tea. And so propaganda, the definition of propaganda is the dissemination of information, facts, arguments, rumors, half-truth, or lies to influence public opinion. Propaganda is more or less systematic effort to manipulate let me read that again. Propaganda is more or less systematic effort to manipulate other people's beliefs, attitudes, or actions by means of symbols like words, gestures, and then the rest is banners, monuments, music, clothing, insignia, hairstyles, designs on coins, postage stamps, but words, gestures, clothing, but words. And another part of that says deliberateness and relatively heavy emphasis is on manipulation that distinguishes propaganda from casual conversation. So they use manipulation. And propagandists have a specific goal or set goals that they're trying to achieve. They deliberately select facts, arguments, and display symbols and present them in ways that he thinks will influence you, will change your mind, or make you change the way that you think. So think about what a narcissist is doing. They're using psychological warfare against your mind, against you. Let's see. Another one is used a lot in the military as well. It was a tactic used in the military. Let's see. So we've gotten that. So let's look. Another one says here that the use of propaganda in psychological warfare is threats and the other psychological techniques to mislead, intimidate, demoralize, or otherwise influence the thinking or behavior of the opponent. You're the opponent. You're the opponent, and they're using psychological warfare on you. Okay, let's go back to my definitions. So I found this site, and on this site was the power of positivity, and they were talking about, there's this book. It says, doctors explain how choosing your words actually changes your brain. The words that you speak changes the way that your brain functions. Okay, here, let me find the doctor's name, okay? Is Dr. Andrew Newberg, a neuroscientist at Thomas Jefferson University, and Mark Robert Waldman, a communications expert. They wrote a life-changing book together called Words Can Change Your Brain. I have not read it. Words Can Change Your Brain. In this book, they wrote a single word has the power to influence the expression of genes that regulate physical and emotional stress. That is how powerful words are. Words have extreme power, and how you use them shapes other people's opinion of you. That's why narcissists use smear campaigns, because those words change the way people think of you. And they have to get to them before you prove to them that the narcissist is the bad guy or the bad girl, or that they're the problem, as well as how you feel personally. Words also influence your emotions. Let's see. The words can either deplete our energy stores or boost them. But most people don't realize the importance of vocabulary that they use. The words that you use are very powerful. We often say things without really thinking them through and just blurt out whatever comes to our mind first. You got to think about what you say, because the narcissist was deliberate at the words that they spoke to you. They were deliberate at what they said. And a lot of things that you're saying, you're repeating how you felt after they said what they said, or you're repeating what they've said, or you're repeating something that has been said to you in the past, that has been, they validated, and now you're saying it. I'm never going to get over this. I am so hurt. I am so wounded. I am so broken. I've lost everything. You know, I'll never make it through this. I'll never make it. I don't think I'm going to make it. But listen to what you're telling your brain. Your brain is like a computer. And your brain on a computer, you know, when a computer goes bad, is either you did not make sure that you're what is it? What is it called? The McAfee, which is your not the infections, but to protect your computer against viruses. You know, that may not have been updated, so it's really the user problem. The stuff that is put into the computer is put in by a person, and so what you get out is what was put in. And so what you spit out is what was in your head, or what you say. Your brain is working off of the words that you're saying. Your words are command. Your words are commands, and you're commanding your brain, you're commanding your emotions, you're telling yourself how to feel. If you walk around and say, I'm a positive, beautiful black woman, I'm a beautiful, positive, beautiful Mexican woman, I'm a gorgeous, beautiful German, Danish woman, British woman, American woman, I'm a handsome, strong, powerful black man, Hispanic man, Caucasian man, Italian man, whatever you are. When you begin to speak positive words, that's what therapists do. We give you positive affirmations to make you change the way that you're thinking. Remember, change the way you think in order to change the way that you behave. The things that you're saying, the words that you're saying, is causing your mind and your emotion to respond to those words. I'm ugly and I feel so bad. Guess what? Well, now I feel bad because every time I see myself, I'm going to think myself ugly. But when you begin to look at yourself, you know what? You know, I'm a handsome man. I'm a beautiful woman. I'm a very intelligent woman. I'm an intelligent man. I'm productive with my hands. Before I met this individual, I was doing this and that and this. So how dare them say that? You know, so you have to be careful what comes out of your mouth. Some of you guys are very free and you speak very ill of yourself. That's because of the fact that the narcissist didn't have anything positive to say to you, and those words took an effect. They were planted in your heart, they were planted in your soul, and you begin to live out what another person said about you. So you got to be very careful at what you're saying, because a lot of things that you're saying is not even your own thoughts. It was somebody else's thoughts that were imposed on you, and now you're living their thoughts of what they thought about you. It's not that they thought that way about you, they thought that way about themselves. But do you think that they're going to compliment you above themselves? Of course not. So let's see. It says here, however, carefully choosing our words and becoming more mindful of what we say can rewire our brains in a positive way. Hello? So here, so these doctors that I just mentioned is Dr. Andrew Newberg and Mark Robert Waldman. Dr. Mark Robert Waldman. There we go. A single word has the power to influence the expression of genes that regulate physical and emotional stress. Your words can stimulate your emotions and stress in your body. Using positive, uplifting words like love and peace in in our everyday lives can literally change the pathways in our brains by boosting our cognitive reasoning and making areas of the frontal lobes more effective. See how powerful your words are? Using positive words in place of negative words can give you energy and motivation to start taking charge in life, and will give you more control over yourself and your choices. So when people come to me in counseling, a lot of people come in here and they're hurt, they're broken, they're wounded. and they're very negative when they're talking about themselves. They're very negative of their outlook. So a lot of times, especially people that have been traumatized, it takes me a long time to get them to change what they're saying about themselves and change what they're saying about their situation. And a lot of times I have to do teachings like this in order for them to change the way that they see a situation. They were taught to look at a certain situation a certain way by the words that the narcissist was telling you. They like to isolate you because they want you focused on what they're saying. Everything that they say is right. Everything that they say, anything that you've ever, let me give you an example. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me give you an example. Young lady was telling me that her and her husband were married, and when she was growing up, she went to school, and she took, remember when they had driver's ed in school, they had driver's education in school. So back in the day, when they had driver's education, you get this little certificate, so you get a discount on your insurance because you had driver's education. So now they got school, like here in Washington, they have driver's classes for teens that are like 16, and you pay like $300-400 in order for them to go to driver's school. Well, they used to have the program in, I don't know if they still have it or not, have driver's ed in school. And so she said that, she learned to drive. She got a little certificate and everything. And so she didn't think about it at the time, but her husband would always yell at her because, as all of you know, on sides of cars or trucks, you can use the mirrors on the car, but there's a blind spot on both sides. And so, and they teach you, if you've been taught and you've been to driver's education, driver's school, they teach you that those mirrors are not going to catch those blind spots, especially when you're driving. Make sure you look over your shoulder. When you're changing lane, look over your shoulder to look into your blind spot to see if there's any car in that blind spot. And she said that when she would drive with him, she said that he would just blurt out, "Why do you keep looking over your shoulder?" And she was like, "I'm looking at my blind spot." "That's stupid. Who taught you that?" And so she was like, "Well, I learned that in driver's ed." He said, "That's stupid. I've never heard of that before." Okay, so the story behind that was, she said she didn't think about it at first until later on he started talking, and I guess he was in a tender moment. He said that he really didn't know how to drive. And so when he went to go take his driver's test, he failed it about 6-7 times. And so in her mind, she started thinking, like, this individual failed the test 6 or 7 times, really couldn't drive, really didn't know what he was doing, but he's telling me not to look over my blind spot, and I learned this from the teacher. But the more he was screaming, the more he was making her nervous, so whenever she got in the car, she wouldn't do it around him, even though she knows she needed to do it, and she was afraid she needed to look in her blind spot. So think about that. This is a narcissist you're dealing with. Listen to the words. They use words to, if they never heard it before, then it's wrong. If they weren't told that, or that wasn't taught to them, then it's wrong. So they're going to talk you out of it. That's why a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are talkers. And so whenever you disagree or you call them out on something, or, they may have lied, or they will go to the extremes of changing your mind by talking. Many words, talking in circles, talking, tangential talking. Remember we talked about tangential. Tangential means on a tangent. They get on one topic and then they're on a tangent. They're on a whole bunch of different topics, all circular motions. And circumstances, like they talk in circles, they get back to the point. Talk in circles, get to the point. But what they'll do is they'll try to torment you. They'll even do things like, you have to go to work the next day, and they'll torment you by sleep depriving you so they can talk. But they talk to torment you, to force you to change your mind. And so all these words they're and they're not even talking about, they'll talk about the exact same thing just in different ways. And as soon as you catch on to what they're doing, they'll change the topic to something else. And then they'll bring up something about you. Then they'll talk about something else. And then they'll tell you, so they'll beat you down with words to a point where you just give up and just agree with them because all you want to do is sleep. And now you're tired. And so then they stroke you again. So words are very, very powerful. So let's see here. When we repeat negative thoughts over and over in our brains, and think about, some of you guys are not only repetitively turning over situations and words. A lot of you saying, "I remember when he said," "I remember when she said," and she used to say, and he used to say, and I remember, and in this video you said, that's exactly, because remember now these words are in your head and they form images, and it takes you back to the time where the person was saying, you remember you could have been what he was wearing, she was wearing, where you guys were at, what you can recall certain details because you're formulating these pictures, and these words are now formulating pictures in your head. If I say, I'll think of something to say in a minute. I'm looking around, but I can draw a picture in your head. I talk, and when I talk, I draw pictures. A lot of women do that. And when we talk and draw pictures. So we'll draw a picture of something and you can see it in your head. I can talk to you about black roses. Now look at you guys. Think about the black roses and blue roses and orange roses and white roses. Wow, that's wonderful. How there's here the affair that they comes here from time to time. We go in there's like roses. People, they do different type of I don't know, it's called interbreeding, whatever, with roses. And so you have purple roses, you have orange roses, you have red roses, you have blue roses, you have black roses, you have pink roses. I've even seen blue and white roses. I've seen red and white roses. All these roses, but look at you guys. Now you're thinking of the roses, right? You're thinking of all the colors. Look at all those colors, all those hues that I just talked about. You just imagine those. So those words just created a picture in your head. That's the exact same thing a narcissist does. Those words create pictures in your head, and a lot of those pictures are negative pictures. And so a lot of times when I'm talking, it takes you back to that place because those words have triggered memory. Those are subconscious memories in your head. You're being triggered. And those are subconscious memory that you may not have thought of at the time. But as I make these videos, it triggers something in your head. Like, oh my gosh, I remember that. And it brings that thought back up. Those words bring that thought. That's how people are triggered. They're triggered by words. They're triggered by smells. That's how powerful words are. So let's see. So it says, when we repeat negative thoughts over and over again in our brains, a lot of people become very bitter too, because you keep turning those words over in your head. Can't believe he said this and he said that, or she said this and she said that, but you keep turning it over, and guess what? Eventually, your brain is thinking we need to connect some emotions with this. So those emotions become negative, you become bitter, you become angry, you don't have anything nice to say. Then all of a sudden you look around like you've been tasting a lemon. You walk around like, why does she look like, or he look like he's been sucking on a lemon? Because those thoughts begin to connect to emotions, begin to connect to facial expressions, because you become tense, and you may sit around with your arms, So words are powerful, and it says the activity levels increase in our brain's fear center. So when we repeat negative thoughts over and over again in our brain, the activity levels increase in our brain fear center, the amygdala. And so think about it. So as a result, stress hormones begin to take over in our body, which explains why we feel on edge. We feel anxious when we're exposed to too much negativity. You don't want to be around that narcissist. Every time they open up their mouth, you get anxious. Every time you see them or something reminds you of them or they come around, you cringe, because those words that they have been released and negative thoughts that you have in your head. And that's for a lot of people with post-traumatic stress. And remember this, the higher the stress is the more you live with high levels of stress, the more it begins to break down your immune system. It makes it harder for your body to fight, and fight diseases or common colds or things like that. You're breaking down your immune system, and you're breaking down, to protect even your major organs. That's why a lot of people have like gastrointestinal problems. They have headaches and stress headaches and tension. Their neck is tense, because you're under stress all the time with that narcissist. You're always under stress when you're being around. Even when they come around, you find yourself very tense. Next time you get around them, if you live in the household with them, or think about it, check out your neck, check out your arms, check out how tense you get, and check out your neck area. Where do you get tense at? Feel that, and then release yourself from that. Relax, relax, because you're tense, you're on edge. So let's see. Too much of this can cause negative impacts on our mental and physical health. Just said that. Okay, let's look. Let's scroll down some. So a group, let me see, they did a study. A study was performed on positive psychology, and provides further evidence that using uplifting language can rewire your brain and thought process. And they use a group of adults aged 35 to 54 to write down 3 positive things that happened during the day and why they chose those things. The following months revealed that they felt increasingly happier and much less depressed. So this small study shows that we can indeed rewire our brains by focusing our attention on what goes right in our lives and not letting what goes wrong affect us so much. We already know that by connecting with a narcissist, a lot of things went wrong. A lot of things went wrong. But take out some positive things. If you had children, you've gotten away from them. You started a career. You're building yourself back up again. You lost weight. Take some positive things out of that, because it's already a bad and negative situation. Take some positive things out and begin to write those down, those positive things, instead of staying focused on the negative things. I know for some of you it's very fresh, it's very new. And so a lot of things you're turning over in your head, and it's hard. I understand that. You got to change the way that you're thinking. You've got to focus. You have to focus on more positive things that bring you out of that, because you're going to be depressed and you're going to be hurt. I reiterate over and over, reiterate that go find a good therapist that's going to help you through the grief and loss process. Ask them if they understand narcissist abuse. Ask them if they understand what that is. Not give them the information. Ask them if they understand it, because it is a totally different type of abuse. Very psychological, and for some very physical, and it does a lot of damage. So let's see. So I think that is it. That's all I have for this evening. So hopefully you guys got a little information in reference to psychological warfare. They use everything against you. Anything that you say, anything that you do. That's why being with a narcissist, you always have to be on guard of what you say, on guard of your vulnerabilities. You are in a relationship by yourself. You're not there's no two people in this relationship. You're in a relationship by yourself, and you constantly have to walk around guarding what you say and guarding your heart and guarding your vulnerabilities. Everything that you do, everything that you say, they use it against you, and they turn it against you to gain control or to manipulate. Everything that they say, even in their words, the things that they say, they're very strategic and manipulating. They think about what they're going to say before they say it. They think about how it's going to come off. Even when you're talking to them, they may ask you a question like, no, that's not right. No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying. You think to yourself, that is not what you were just saying. And they'll talk. They're like salesmen. They're hustlers. They talk. And you're like, no, that is not what you just said. That's what I was trying to say in the first place. You just misunderstood. Oh, I didn't misunderstand that. But then they talk until you're like, well, maybe I did misunderstand. But they manipulate, and they use words as weapons against you in everything that they do. They use words as weapons, and now you have been left with the residue, the residual from those words. So you have to be careful what comes out of your mouth as well, but you have to understand what their thoughts were versus what your thoughts were. You have to separate the two, because some of the thoughts that you're speaking, some of those words that you're speaking are not your thoughts. Those were their thoughts. And remember, you were valuable to them. And you were the enemy. You were the opponent. You were happy. You were doing something for yourself. You were prosperous. And many of you say, I have no idea how I even got with this individual. It's totally opposite than anyone that I would have ever dated or married, because of the fact that they're good at words. They're good at words. That's why they mirror you. And they know exactly what words to use to pull on your heartstrings, to move you emotionally. That's what they use those words for. And a therapist goes to school, and we learn how to use words in a positive way to bring you out of where you are, to help you to reorganize your own thoughts, to give you positive affirmations. So words can be used positively or negatively. A narc is going to use words as a weapon against you to destroy you mentally, and you begin to manifest it in your behavior and what you speak. All I need to know is what you're saying. I can tell you what you're thinking. And a lot of times what you're saying is not what you think that you're saying. What you're saying is actually revealing how you're thinking. And some of those are not your thoughts, and some of them are your thoughts. Because they have validated some insecurities in you. They have validated some things that may have been planted long time ago as a seed, those words. But you got to change the way that you think in order to change the way that you feel, in order to change the way that you behave, in order to change some of the issues that you have. Post-traumatic stress, words. That's why it's called talk therapy. So hopefully this has helped you tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I have to get out of here. Thank you guys. If you have not already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is Dr. Carmen Bryant. That's with a T. Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Or you can also go to my Facebook page, Psychological Health Consultants and Services. Hit the thumbs up. Or go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and then hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video, and then you also know whenever I go on live. Thank you guys so much for all the emails. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the stories. Thank you for talking to me on YouTube. I am so honored and I am so appreciative. Share these videos. You never know who's going through this. You never know who needs this information. Share, 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 and get this information out of there. We need to join together as a tribe, as a group, as survivors, and we need to get this information out there. People need to know what they have been through, what they're going through, and that somebody believes them and that we know is real. Thank you once again. As my friend always says, go and be great.